Welcome to OOD Works, the podcast, a show about unique individuals and the services provided by Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities, the state agency that helps individuals with disabilities find a job and be more independent. Here's your host, Kim Jump.
June 2020 marks the 50th anniversary of Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities as the state vocational rehabilitation agency. Although the name has changed over the years, our commitment to Ohioans with disabilities remains the same. Prior to the coronavirus pandemic, I had the pleasure of interviewing Jennifer Strank, OOD Vocational Rehabilitation Counselor. Please note that as of the episode's published date of June 11th, 2020, OOD staff are working from home and continuing to communicate with the individuals we serve. On today's episode of OOD Works, the podcast, I am joined by one of our vocational rehabilitation counselors, Jennifer Strank. Jennifer, thank you for agreeing to be on the podcast.
No problem. Happy to be here.
I think it's great for our listeners to be able to hear from a counselor such as yourself to understand the important work that often is taking place behind the scenes to support individuals with disabilities. So I'm really excited about our conversation today. And my first question for you is, how did you get started with OOD?
Well, I actually worked for a mental health agency as a vocational coordinator and then became a vocational supervisor. And when I learned that there was going to be a potential opening up in my home county due to somebody who was retiring, I applied and everything worked out perfectly. And this July, I'll be here for 15 years.
Oh, that's fantastic. 15 years, you've seen a lot of change over the years, I bet.
Yeah, I have, but change is okay. It's expected and it is what it is. You just kind of got to roll with it.
Exactly. Tell our listeners, as a counselor today, kind of what's a typical day look like?
Well, there is no typical day, I guess. The thing I like best about being a vocational rehabilitation counselor is that every day is not the same. I enjoy working with people, obviously, collaborating with my coworkers, of course, and agency partners. We work a lot I'm embedded at a local Ohio Means Job Center, so I work a lot with the partners here, along with the DD boards and the mental health agencies. So for me, no day is the same. So it's talking on the phone, meeting with clients. I travel a lot since I am embedded. I meet with clients in the libraries, in the community, and sometimes they'll come to me, but mostly I try to stay in the office at least 3 days a week, and then I'm typically in the field a couple of days also.
For folks that are maybe just hearing about an embedded counselor for the first time, so your actual office is at Ohio Means Jobs in Columbiana County.
Correct. I'm headquartered in Youngstown, but I spend most of my time here in Columbiana County.
What advantage do you see for those that we serve having kind of you right there at an Ohio Means job? How is that to an advantage of individuals who get linked with our services?
Well, for us in our county, we don't have a big public transportation system. So we're located at the Ohio Means Job Center, which is also in the same building that the Department of Job and Family Services is. So that's helpful for clients because a lot of our clients do not drive or they rely on family and friends. So being here in the county seat is right in the middle of the action. So for us, it's helpful to be here in Lisbon, Ohio.
Gotcha. And that's a site for folks who are local there that's well known. And if they do for some reason need to come to you, I'm sure they know where that is.
Sometimes, but sometimes not. So if somebody hasn't ever worked in the past, they don't even know what an Ohio Means Job Center is. So, but if I say, the Job and Family Services building, they typically know what that is because maybe they're coming for their Medicaid, their food stamps. We're also beside the Board of Elections, so I tell people that, as well as the County Veterans Office is also in our building. So that's a good identifier for a lot of people.
Excellent. Thank you for explaining that. I'm definitely going to include that. That's, I think, great for folks to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Does it help being in Ohio Means Jobs for collaborating with other agencies?
Oh, absolutely. In ours specifically, we have MCTA, which is Mahoning Columbiana Training Association. They actually have a big, huge grant and project with, I believe it's through Job and Family Services. It's called CCMEP. Mm-hmm. Don't ask me what that stands for. Comprehensive Case Management something.
Yeah, employment program, I believe.
Yeah, it's mostly centered for the youth population, I think age 14 to 24 maybe. So we do collaborate a lot with them and get some referrals with the career consultants through MCTA. But also there's a veteran rep here, so we also get some referrals from him. And then individuals who are coming in for unemployment, they have questions about that, or just plain job seekers. Once the front desk staff knows that they have a disability or disabling condition, then we get called in, and that's where we get a lot of our referrals too, from walk-ins and then the other partners.
That's great. It sounds to me like you work with a diverse range of clients.
Yes, I do. I have a general caseload. So I have individuals with all types of disabilities, from autism to physical disabilities to mental health, learning disabilities, autism, all kinds of disabilities. And then the age range too. I do have some youth on my caseload. When I say youth, I don't mean too young, but a couple high school kids, all the way up to, retirees that want to re-enter the workforce or haven't been in the workforce for a while.
And I bet that adds to that sense that you described earlier of, every day is different. Every client's different.
Yeah, I'm glad I have a generalized caseload so that it's not the same thing every day. Actually, I don't even think it could be the same thing every day with the kind of work that we do. So I enjoy different disabilities. I see things that I've never seen before, and things that some disabilities I've never heard of that I have to research. Recently, I've had a couple people who have lupus, and that's not something that I've worked with in the past. So just kind of educating myself on what their limitations and barriers are has been kind of new lately.
Gotcha. Jennifer, what do you like best about the job?
For me, it's seeing at the very end that successful closure. When people come in and see us, sometimes the majority of the time they're very defeated, they're depressed, they've lost their identity, they haven't worked in a long time, or they've worked at a job and they've become disabled and they can't go back to that. Or it's the individual who's never worked. Maybe they're in their 20s and they've just been on Social Security all their life, they've never worked, and nobody's ever really had that conversation with them. So getting to that end and talking about closing the case successfully and seeing the growth and self-esteem is just amazing.
You mentioned identity. How would you describe how work helps with identity?
Well, and I'm just thinking, think about the job you do, and I just can't imagine not working. The first question typically people ask when you're meeting new people, what do you do? And for a lot of our people, that is a very uncomfortable question. If they don't have a job, then they feel low self-esteem about themselves. I just can't imagine not working. There's not a day that I don't wake up and say, oh, I hate my job, I don't want to go to work. I think I'm in the minority of that, but I just really enjoy working. And to help people work, no matter what it is, whether it's just getting back into the workforce, getting their first job, or doing whatever, it's just a great feeling. It helps with recovery. I used to work in a mental health center, and I have a lot of people with mental illness on my caseload, and I feel working really does lead to recovery. I'm a pretty big advocate of that.
Yeah. You must have been excited when it was announced that the agency was launching OOD Jobs for Recovery.
Yeah, I actually have somebody that I've worked with. She is kind of one of my success stories. I'm really excited about her. If I remember correctly, she was a pretty hardcore into some major drugs, heroin and opioids. And she was living a pretty rough lifestyle for, I think, 7 years, if I remember. And when she came to me, she had started her college program, before she kind of went into a bad place. And she really only needed 1 more year of college to finish her social work degree. And she's recently, and at that point, I think she was maybe 9 months in sobriety. She just graduated. And 2 weeks ago, she started a job, and she's working with children with disabilities, with autism to be exact. And it's just amazing when she graduated and called me and said, I got a job. So it was just really, addiction affects a lot of people.
Yeah, that just gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, I really, I'm happy for her. She's just amazing. When I met her, I just got chills when she was telling me that she was revived from Narcan, I think like 5 times, and she's just a beautiful person. And I remember after that meeting with her, I was pretty shook up for a couple days. I just went home and I just talked to my kids about drugs and how it can affect anybody, because she's just beautiful. You wouldn't think that when she walked into the office that was going on with her.
And then it had such a stronghold, it sounds like. Wonderful for her to break through.
Yeah, she, it was, give her all the credit in the world, because it's not easy going through that.
Jennifer, what do the individuals you serve tend to say about you? Are there any common themes?
I would hope that they say, even though it's part of my job to be nice and to listen to people, I would think that they would say that I'm a pretty genuine person, and that they know that I'm here to truly help them and support them. We live in a small community, so I'm out and about. If I see, it's not uncommon for me to see clients, at the grocery store or wherever. And I've had people come up to me and thank me and tell me they're still working, or introduce me to their friends or family. So that always feels good. It's just a very good feeling for me just to know that I still get phone calls from clients a couple years down the road. Once their case is closed, they'll call me just to tell me they're still working, or they'll call me to tell me that they want to refer a friend or a family member to us. And then they specifically ask for me. So that makes me feel good.
That's a testament for sure. Well, it's apparent that you love what you do.
I do.
What does it mean to you to work with individuals with disabilities?
I don't have any personal stories or anything, and I know it kind of sounds corny, but I really try not to see the disability in the person. I try to see the whole person. You can ask my kids. I preach to them all the time that people are unique and not to judge or bully people. I know that for me, whenever I'm not working, I just innately are always looking for opportunities to network with people about our clients. When I meet people for the first time, I'm always asking them what kind of job do they do. I'm always trying to find employment opportunities for our clients. So if I'm meeting one of my kids' parents for the first time or whatever, I'm always asking, what kind of work do you do? And a couple times that has actually led to employment opportunities for some of my clients. So I don't know. I just believe in being just a good person, being a good human, and not judging people. I guess it's worked because my daughter is just starting college, and she's interested at this moment in being a special education teacher. So we'll see if that holds.
I'm sure your work has played into that and has inspired her from what she's probably heard from you at home about your work.
Oh, there's not a day that we don't talk about not being good humans in my household. So
I like it. Do you have clients who stand out in your mind?
A couple that I come to mind recently, just maybe 2 weeks ago, we successfully closed a young man who, when I say young man, he's probably in his 30s, but to me, he's a young man, I guess. He's diagnosed with autism. He's never, ever worked at all. And he got hired at a local retail store. He's making $11 an hour, and it's just amazing. He takes such pride in his job, and he's always telling me the next time I'm in the store that I have to ask for him. So that's a good one. Another one, that a local coffee shop hired this young lady, and she has a severe stuttering disorder. And I mean, the most severe I have ever heard. And she was actually just featured on their Facebook page as their employee of the month. So that one was another happy one. Let's see. Oh, another young lady, she came to us. I did her intake. This has been a while ago because she was working for 10 years as a receptionist at a local office building. She worked there for 10 years. She had spina bifida, and she had never ever worked, but she had some medical complications, and she actually ended up having to leave that job. That was just very successful. When I first met her, she had like no self-esteem, never even really thought about working, but she'd been there for 10 years, which was amazing. One young man, I met him when he was in high school, I think maybe his junior year, and he was diagnosed with ADHD, autism, and he has cochlear implants. And I probably closed him maybe 5-6 months ago. He completed his bachelor's degree, and he's an engineer. So that one was pretty exciting.
It's gotta just feel so good.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I could go on. I could talk about everybody, because everybody's a success in my mind. The guy that I'm working with, he's 31, and he has cerebral palsy. When I met with him, his big reason for wanting to get involved with us was more socialization and meeting people. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, okay, but we are here to talk about employment. But he's a big sports fan. He's into the Cleveland Browns, and I didn't hold that against him, but he's a big Browns fan, and he's a sports writer and an analyst, and he has weekly podcasts, and it is just amazing when you see his videos and his podcasts. He's just smiling from ear to ear. He's totally in his own element, and it is just so awesome to be a part of.
Yeah, that's really fabulous. As a counselor, is there anything that you want Ohioans to know about OOD or about the work you do?
I feel like our services are definitely underutilized. I feel like there's a lot of people out there who don't know about us, whether that's clients as well as employers. So, I do feel like we're doing a better job trying to reach out to people to learn about our agency. But the main thing is, and I do it on a daily basis, like I said earlier, I'm just always talking to people about the benefits of hiring people with disabilities. I think everybody has just preconceived notions in their mind about what a person with a disability is like. And it's really hard for people to see the big picture until they've really had a personal experience. So every day I'm just trying to get the word out and encourage people to hire people with disabilities, and encouraging people with disabilities to try to work. They don't have to always be on Social Security. They don't have to, do nothing, because again, work is important, and that's what people identify with.
Right. It's just about finding the right fit.
Absolutely. I mean, everybody, has to work and has to get a paycheck every 2 weeks, and not everybody loves their job. And some people, just want to have a purpose, and that's what it's all about, is getting up and having a purpose.
Mm-hmm. As a counselor, you work with a team of individuals to support those that we serve. Can you talk a bit about that?
Sure. When I think about the team, I think about the family, whether it's a parent, a spouse, whomever. A case manager for some individuals, that would be maybe somebody with a mental health diagnosis or somebody with a developmental disability that would have a case manager. They're important to the success in the planning. But the big collaboration is with our job developers. I guess the main point I want to make with that is that the job developers are the ones who really are out there pounding the pavement and contacting the employers. And I just feel like they need a big shout out, because a lot of my successes are not going to happen without the help of our local job developers. When I'm talking to a client about successfully closing their case because they've been at their 90 days and they're working, not only do they thank me for the help, but typically they're thanking their job developer and their job coach, because they're the ones who were instrumental in them finding the job and learning the job duties if they had a job coach. So they're the ones that really need a pat on the back as well.
So since you're in an embedded office, do you have the opportunity to be around coworkers very often?
Yes, I do. Once a month, we have a staff meeting in Youngstown. We also have once a month counselor meetings where we meet and we kind of collaborate on cases and, talk about our hard cases, talk about, what to do. So I value my coworkers very much. We all get along. We have our moments where we need to vent, but at the end of the day, we're always there for each other. I have another counselor that I work with at the Ohio Means Job Center. We're both embedded, so her and I really bounce a lot of things off of each other. For me, I've always been an embedded counselor because we've never had an office in our county. When I go up to Youngstown, sometimes it's hard for me to get into the groove because I'm not in my normal setting. But I do tend to travel up there a couple other times a month because I do have cases in Mahoning County as well. So I do have the opportunity to go up there more and collaborate. So my supervisor's up in Youngstown, so we do phone conversations a lot as well as our monthly supervision. So I couldn't do without my coworkers as well. And that goes, for everybody. I'm not just meaning my counselor cohorts, but our caseload assistants, they're very instrumental in helping, as well as our AEs. The faster our AEs, and that's the account examiners, the faster they're doing my authorizations, the quicker my clients are getting services, the faster my caseload assistant is requesting records. That means I get the diagnosis back quicker, and that just helps the services for our clients get done when everybody's working quickly and efficiently.
A transcript of today's episode is available at ood.ohio.gov/podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating and review. We're on social media at Ohio OOD. Do you have a disability? Do you want a job? We can help. oodworks.com.